Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we take that midweek break to cover all the fascinating things that we've found going on in the Linux world. And this week is no exception because Debian is shutting down their FTP servers. Both users are reportedly extremely irate, and OpenSnitch is a little firewall in Oyatron that will tell you exactly what's going on.
And I said, hey, Unity was hacked. No, not that one, the other one. And do you have an old Scuzzy hard drive laying about? Well, someone created a Raspberry Pi controller for it. Yeah.
And unfortunately, Mathieu Commandon is not joining us this week. He has been involved in a very serious crepe-related accident, but we must soldier on, starting with YouTube Download GUI. Yes, you're not making that up. This is a real thing for Linux users. And it's currently out, man. It's cross-platform front-end GUI for the popular YouTube DL, which I think everyone knows. And
yeah.
Quite unfortunate that we don't have Herstrider here because it is written in WX Python. And it's available. It's got the source, Arch, Ubuntu, Slackware, PyPy. You got to help me on this. You just do, man. I mean, why do people download YouTube videos, man?
Music piracy. I know this because torrents are hard for the average computer user, and downloading the YouTube video and just having that locally and play it whatever, you would a regular song, that's how people do it. And I know because that's how people around me, my mom.
Okay, that's what I'm not. That's what I'm not getting is if you can just listen to it, why not just listen to it when you want to listen to it instead of like, is it like the people who need the physical copies of stuff to feel complete as a human being?
Or in those situations where you're stuck with ADSL internet. Hi, Mom. Yeah, no, I can see why people would do it, but then again, they don't have the technical knowledge to extract the audio from the video file, so they end up just having an MP4 in the middle of all the MP3s of their music library, so, yeah.
But, looking at that, I mean, it's definitely a thing that, if that's what you do, I personally don't get it. If you want to save some time since you're already using GUI, just use VLC. You already have it installed. Check, trust me, you do, and just put that in there, and you can play it and download
W get that, yeah.
Yeah, it will get things done going from GUI to CLI.
Yeah, so do you feel like you're not pretentious enough? Would you like to whip out your phone in a public place, kinky, and just show everyone how much of a lead hacksaw you are? Well, you can. The Linux CLI Launcher for Android will let you do just that. And yes, I'm not kidding. Someone actually went out and made a CLI interface for Android. Why? I don't know, and neither seems to the article author, Mr. Edgar Cervantes. He doesn't seem to know either, and he had a little bit at the end of the article that says, it's a neat way to practice your Linux commands, but we don't think the regular consumer will ever get it. Yeah, no, that they're not the target audience, and neither are you, or for that matter, neither are we. This is for those elitist people that want to feel superior to their less tech-literate friends over such things.
Nope. This is the equivalent to wearing Crocs. So hear me out. If you see someone with this as a launcher, you know to avoid them is basically where you're at. Because, I mean, as soon as I read it's a neat way to practice your Linux commands, it's like, no, it's not. And dear blog, please stick to topics you know about. This doesn't help with Linux in any way. I mean, it's genuinely just a great tool for the word I'm looking for. Right, posers. That's the word. 1,000. But hey, honestly, even though I'm kind of half tongue-in-cheek joking about it, I might try it just to go, okay, well, this is weird. Or better yet, if you have access to somebody's mobile that you don't particularly like.
Oh, yeah, do it.
I definitely think you could get in the business of getting that done. Unlike Debian, man, FTP, that ancient protocol that you might have used to acquire some songs with ratio servers back in the, you know what I'm talking about. Distro download servers are too hard to run and users ignore. Okay, fact. From register.co.uk, all this business in our show notes. Yeah, this is a really long article saying it's dead, Jim.
Yeah, and let's face it, nowadays, even the regular repos work off of HTTP, so you don't really need to have the FTP running. You don't.
Yeah. Initially, I was like, oh, you know, I kind of blew up. I was like, what's going on in this world? Then I remembered I have actually told kids to get off my lawn in the past year. You know, FTP, I use it every week, multiple times to upload multiple gigabyte files for this show and our Saturday show. But I sit down and had that one on with myself, and no, I cannot remember the last time I downloaded anything outside of doing like a site backup, like work stuff.
Yeah.
But like downloaded anything via FTP since like the late 90s at best. So,
or whenever you're trying to look at a website that's being, it's trying to lock you away from certain places, and you just replace the HTTP with FTP, and you go poking around the different folders, see if you can access it.
I love how you finished that. It's like, and you go poking around. I was like, yeah, when you want to see what's going on their website. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the only thing I use FTP for right now, so...
Nah, I don't know. It's always fun when you see somebody doing that, when you're running a site and you get like tail F on the access log for Apache. And you see that they're digging around and you start creating folders. Go away. Seriously, I'm watching you. And all. Just good tip. But hey, TV series app, okay, check it out. The only reason we're going to talk about this is because piracy's legal in Portugal and these people are pants on heads retarded.
Again, legal is a stretch, but yeah, no. This is an app for Linux called Series Ninja, and what it does is it does basically the same thing that Popcorn Time used to let you do. You pick a series, and it will do on the back end. It'll do a little torrenting to get the series, and on the front end, you could just stream the files.
Oh, it supports Snap.
Yes. There's a Snap package. There are Deb packages, but for the Deb packages, you need a distro that supports Qt 5.5.1, so at least 1604. And from there on, it's just a front end for a streaming torrent-based app. Now, here in Portugal, you pay a specific tax on storage, a very steep tax, for being honest. But it basically all that does is say everything that's on your hard drive, it's yours. So long as you're not actively seeding it and sharing it with other people, that's still illegal. So basically legalized leeching.
Kind of going off Strider's show notes with pay for your stuff, kids.
Yeah.
Do it. You know, I used to have LoveFilm. Now I have Amazon.co.uk. Now I have Amazon Prime here in the States, Netflix, Hulu. Forgetting something. I got my bill. HBO when Game of Thrones comes on.
Yeah,
and that's how you support the shows that keep going. And this is just stupid because get this. Not only is this service just on its face, you're like, oh, really? Okay, you're gonna get nuked from orbit by every alphabet recording.
Yep.
Charging for it. They have 3 plans of stupidity, 99 cents, $1.99, and $3.99. So you can pay someone to pirate it for you. Then you have the question part, then you have the underpants gnomes, then it says profit. Good luck on getting sued into oblivion, and please don't make stuff like this. And if you're going to make stuff like this, don't make it available on Linux. It's just bad form. Okay. Yeah. Hey man, OpenSnitch. Now this is something that I don't even know if it's currently available on Mac OS, whatever version they have, but
it used to be.
Yeah, it's a little snitch application firewall. If you install this on your Linux box, it will annoy you to death, and it'll be great. That's really all it does. I mean, this is currently an alpha version, so there's not a lot to it. You're basically going to be creating an alert for any outgoing connection application. Well, anything that is trying to get out, this thing's going to be like, hey, something's trying to get out. Help me out, Pedro. I mean, outside of just scaring the bejesus, going again, this is our prank episode, apparently. Installing this on your mate's computer just so they have got like constant terror warnings of like, oh no.
Am I running Windows all over again and I'm running this really paranoid antivirus program? Because I remember those days. Yeah. No, outside of that, I don't see it. But then again, I'm one of those people that has SE Linux properly set up. Yes, on Ubuntu. Go figure. I have...
Well, that also means that you have SE Linux properly disabled in a lot of spots so you can make things usable.
Yeah, especially with Steam, because Steam, whenever just changing regular desktop mode from Steam to big picture mode, that's enough to go make SE Linux go, no, we're not having any of that. Executable bits in temporary folders in memory, no. But yeah. So yeah, outside of that, I don't really see the point of OpenSnitch.
I kind of see the point. I mean, once this is very, very early alpha. Once this thing gets full-fledged, I can see somebody coming over to Linux, and I like to see tools like this for new Linux users that they want to be secure, man. I mean, they are thinking in the correct way, but they're not going to fire up NetHog or anything in the terminal and start sniffing around. But something like this, where maybe it could come with a distro and be like, yo, and you can kind of put it on, shut the F up mostly setting, a slider bar. I'm giving you free development tips here. Just so, if something panicky comes up, they're not flipping out.
An actual blacklist of the known really bad websites or connections, IP servers, IP addresses that they're trying to connect to. You can set that up. That would be nice.
Yeah. Hey, something else that's kind of nice.
Really nice. So Fraunhofer, you may remember them if you ever tried to get something that plays MP3 files over the past couple of years. Well, they can't license the MP3 playback and whatever else anymore because, hey, that patent's expired. So now it's free. And you can actually, they give you a link to mp3-history.com where you can read all of that, and it's got really nice detail about everything. And as far as availability goes, they say please use their contact form below, but you don't need to anymore because, well, they can't license it to you anymore.
I think it's a bit brilliant. And we talked about this oncoming storm a few months back. Like, ding dong, because some people, Fedora, but they definitely flipped out about it. And Strider did have a bit in the notes, and he's like, I'm sure Fedora and OpenSUSE will still find reasons not to include it in their repos. Guarantee you they will. But the one thing I like about this is people can finally just stop screeching about podcast, which is what we do. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is also an audio podcast. Being distributed MP3, even though that they themselves have never downloaded an OGG in their life.
And as less and less people keep local copies of their music libraries, I know we just touched on a particular subset of people who do. Hi, Mom. Keeping a particular format under ransom when everything else is basically free doesn't really make sense. And I'm guessing Fraunhofer doesn't really want to pull a Disney when it comes to that particular patent. So good. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a few people in chat room talking right now. There's they're using OGG and stuff like that. That's cool. I like people who stick with their scruples and all that business. But continuing on with this audio nightmare train.
Oh yeah, you want to get that audio and you have some reverb effects or compress your voice down so much that you sound like you're coming off of a landline from the 80s. Hell yeah, can. It's Pulse Effects. It's available on GitHub, and I did get a chance to try it. At one point, it's like 5 seconds in, I caught myself changing the music I was listening to output to the speakers, and then mute the speakers physically while having the Pulse Effects output stream coming into my headset so I could tweak around everything and change the equalizer and do all that. And I'm like, oh, crap, I'm turning into Ven.
It gets a bit crazy. I saw this earlier this week, and I was like, I have not got a chance to try it. But I'll probably try it later this evening because I don't mess with the box of business, our production box, anywhere near before show. But if this is something we need. If you're out there, and this might not do it, but I'd like to see if this has the option to allow me, because one thing we use is Pavu control, which is the front end for Pulse, but once you have that, audio kind of makes sense to you. You can start learning. What we need is, because everything like Jitsi and any type of web audio stuff, even you can cut Skype, and it does AGC auto gain control, and you can't disable it for the most part. You can get kind of wicked screwy in Firefox and kind of disable auto gain control across the board. But what we need as our little network is the ability to like lock line in and say we need line in at 85% and nothing can move this without creating a script that loops it back to that setting, which I may have done. But if this Pulse Effects pulls this off, Ben, I'm personally going to owe them a throne made out of the skulls of their enemy, man.
They do have one option, as you can see in the screenshots, called Input Limiter. I tried futzing around with it, but it didn't seem to do anything. Yes, you can limit just how high it can go, but I didn't actually test to see if it would limit it in the case of Jitsi. If we were trying to use the input to send voice across Jitsi, because let's face it, we are still using old Skype because it works and it has good enough audio quality. And nothing else up to this point, even Discord, as good as it is, it still manages to be slightly worse than old Skype. So it would be really helpful for us to get rid of that.
Yeah, that's definitely great. I mean, if it had a noise gate in it, again, I got to play with it. Trust me, I'll do a deep dive. I'll probably come back and report on it next week. Yeah, Discord sounds fantastic until you fire up Skype. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We had that personal experience of like, Discord, yeah, this is sounding pretty good. We might have something. Then once I hopped back on.
Jordan, go on Skype.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's like, okay. That's a bit different. Let's hack the planet before we get out of here.
Well, I don't know about the planet, but Unity. Yeah, this is our gaming story of the week, so to speak. So Unity, the game engine, their forums got hacked. They got hacked and the website was defaced. There was someone on Twitter, Amos, or Faster Than Lime. He posted a screenshot saying that the forum.unity3d.com domain was hacked by Armine. Don't know if that's an effective marketing tactic, but fine folks at Unity did say, thanks to everyone who's reached out about the forums being compromised, they are on it, and a couple of days later, they said, yeah, we know about it, we've seen it, and we're actively trying to basically soup up our security because very clearly whatever they had before wasn't good enough. Now, they have two-factor authentication coming up, finally. I mean, it took you long enough. They also have device identification that will alert you, say, you usually log in from a specific machine, like your desktop or your laptop, what have you, and someone else tries to log in with your credentials, or even you yourself, from your phone. You will get an email saying, yo, there's this device trying to access, like Google and most of other social networks already do, and they have revamped their password policy, so you can actually have per organization password reset rotations and strength policies, depending on whomever is using the engine. So, hey, finally.
No, I think it's a good thing. Dak, you kind of, and Sheldon kind of brought up what I have here in the show notes. If I want to read them verbatim, is, oh no, my email address was hacked because I'm effectively 9 years old, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured that out mentally. Yeah, big shrug emoticon on this. It's like, all right, that happened. Hopefully you're not using
the same password for everything.
Your same password or your primary email address. I mean, then again, we own our own web zone and stuff. We just spool up email addresses like cotton candy because it's brilliant. It looks like they got around to it in time to kind of step in for Herr Commando, and he got it right. So just to read his bit out in the notes, like the security group responsible for the hack says they're white hat and professional, but it doesn't seem very professional, when they throw, this all over their web zone, man,
Yeah, it's if you're defacing a website, that's probably not a good idea. You find a vulnerability. If you are a real white hat, You find a vulnerability, you get in touch with the people in charge of that, say, yo, found a vulnerability with your forums, here's everything, please change it. And if you really want to do something, do the Google thing. It's like, you got 90 days. If you don't do it in 90 days, I'm going to deface your website. Guaranteed that will get most people to scurry up and just fix it.
Pro tip, so you don't go to federal, can't say the other part, prison. Never deface the web zone, just release it to the public. I mean, it's Microsoft or somebody like that, and you're like, hey guys, critical vulnerability. Unless it's Steam, then they'll just kick your account off.
Oh yeah, they will ban you from Steam. Yeah.
One thing
all right.
we don't have to worry about is getting banned off anything, because the beautiful party people help make this show possible.
Indeed, a very beautiful party people, kicking us 101 to be specific, kicking us 179 wet stinky caches over on the Patreons. It's the end of the month, the start of a new month. So check your credit cards, not for us specifically, but for yourselves, please. Just in case you have other specific bills you have associated with that particular card. If you'd like to kick us a few shekels, though, it's easy enough. Patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. And you get earlier access to all the neat stuff we do, including Left for Bread, which we need to get to at some point. And if we do get up to 200, you also get to see Jordan suffer through Sirius M3 because he just loves
It's going to be glorious. It's going to be fantastic. And don't forget, I mean, check out all the different tiers, because, pick the reward level that you want. I mean, up to and including having votes and stuff that we do. But you also stick around for the after show if you're currently a patron. I see Steve's hanging out in there. And Katana, names in the credits. You're listed as a producer. Somebody calls up and be like, hey, is this person really a producer on this show? Absolutely they are, sir. I suggest hiring them. But Patreon's not the only way to kick us some shekels. We got a support page over at linuxgamecast.com. Hit that support button. All the Amazons from Britannia to the States, to the Canadians, to Space France. We have an Amazon wish list. We have some one-time buttons on the PayPal. You're just like, hey man, I just want to kick you a little bit that one time, and that's kind of brilliant. But speaking of that wish list, we got the stuff listed. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because this showed up in the post. Hello.
Ooh.
Bradley, thanks you very much. Hugs and kisses. Our good friends bought us the Pile Hum Destroyer, which we are currently using right now. It's in the audio system. It took me a little while. If you follow me on the social medias, there was a small adventure in getting everything up and running. And something I forgot, if you're $1 or more Patreon on Patreon, hey, look how that matches. You get access to our pre-shows, and it's your own custom private RSS feed, which we had the audio adventure episode when I was setting all that up, and I finally got everything working. But thank you so much to Bradley, if that is indeed your real name. All that has made me terribly hungry. How about we have a slice of pie?
Yes, let's go for a slice of pie. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, do you have a Scuzzy drive laying around? Chances are, if you're a computer person, you probably do. So you'd like to get some of that data off of there, or say you still have a working Scuzzy system somewhere in your network, and you would like to introduce Ethernet access to it. You can do it if you have a Raspberry Pi and you don't mind either wiring some of the stuff yourself, or paying a fine Japanese gentleman who basically created a Scuzzy adapter that you can plug into your Pi's GPIO ports. Now, he did make generous use of transceivers to adapt the 40-pin GPIO to the 50-pin Scuzzy, but it works.
Just honestly seeing an external Scuzzy connector, my eyes are like...
It makes those parallel printer connectors just look tiny by comparison.
Oh man, I used to have... I have one over here in the tech closet, an external Scuzzy ultrawide 2 kit, man.
Yep. Yeah. No, he does the one he's made available also comes with a actually very tiny ribbon cable that you will need to basically do the wiring yourself to plug it into the GPIO and to the Scuzzy network, what have yous going on. And if you do want to use that Scuzzy Pi as a network drive and introduce Ethernet to the Scuzzy array, you can do it, but you will need to be using the only one they tested because the Japanese person who made this, he made it for the Sharp X68000, which is a late 80s PC, similar to your Commodores, your Amigas, what have yous, which used to be very popular in Japan, and it's kind of got a whole retro computer scene going off around it in Japan. So if for some reason you got your hands on an X68000 and you want to try to introduce Ethernet to it, you can. You just have to be using Human OS 3.02 on the X68000, and they only support Debian, Raspbian, Jessie on the Pi itself.
It's definitely a cool project, and looking at the wiring diagram, because at first I was like, "Ooh, somebody already makes a device very similar to this, which it runs in like 70 quid." Then you start looking at the actual diagram to wire this critter up, and I was like, $70 doesn't really sound all that bad. Right.
Yeah, no, you kind of got to do it yourself.
Coming up next, Snapd on Raspbian Jessie. Yes, please know this is not an official distribution of Snapd. It's a work in progress. Oh no, I'm kind of terrified, man. Why? Okay, Oh, Martin, I got like another 2 months of making fun of Snap before it's going to be a thing, so just give me that. So, but why?
Honestly, I don't know, but, well, I do know. It's a Raspberry Pi. If you're going to be using it for something, chances are it's going to be an embedded device, and it doesn't have a regular desktop operating system, and you don't have everything you need to run just dynamically linked bits of software that rely on the system's libraries themselves. And chances are you just want to use a very specific software on top of whatever.
Check this out, man. There's a bit of a note that this will not work with the Pi 1 or the Pi 9. Incompatible. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Wimpy, there he is.
Yeah, there he is. So you actually need a Raspberry Pi 2 or a Raspberry Pi 3 for this to work. Don't know exactly why, but there it is. Guess Martin will let us know for next week. But yeah, since it's a very focused deployment that you're doing with a Raspberry Pi, chances are, it kind of makes sense to have a container to run your software or the software that you want to run on that particular device from Snap.
All right. Hopefully that was enough Pi news to satisfy your caloric needs for this Wednesday. It's kind of brilliant. Hey, let's do a little bit of feedback. And if you want to get in touch with us, head over to linuxgamecast.com. Hit that contact button. That's a thing we do. Fill it out. Let us know. It's like, hey, are you doing something right? Maybe we're doing something wrong. We love stuff like that. Thoughts, hints, ideas, suggestions. Give it to us. And if it's just a little bit awesome, we're going to put it on the show. You can leave comments in the YouTubes. That's fine. Just don't get a little cranky if we don't include them, because that's not the first place we look. The other contact form, we have a special mailbox set up just for that. So, starting us off this week,
well, we have Josh, and he's actually talking about some gaming. That's the wrong show there, Josh. But he says NVIDIA is better for gaming on both Linux and Mac OS. Well, not that you get much of a choice in Mac OS.
Well, basically, this is, it's better. I guess because we were talking about the AMDs on last Wednesday.
We were talking about the AMD Vega, and no, it wasn't Vega. It was the RX 580, which people were flashing the 580 VBIOS into the 480s. So basically, it's better for gaming, except Windows. Windows has DirectX, which really levels the playing field. Sure, there's Vulkan, but that's going to take a while for it to even come close to catching up with DirectX in terms of implementation. Most game development companies are perfectly happy with DirectX, and if you're lucky, OpenGL. And even the companies that do make games in OpenGL don't always release their games on Linux. Looking at you, Bethesda. For example, it would be really nice if Blizzard, also another one, released their games for Linux. Though Play on Linux makes it pretty easy to get Windows games running on Linux. You misspelled Lutris, because if you want to talk easy, the games that Lutris does support... Oh, hi, Matthew. you were gone for most of the
use
show.
my voice is way too deep to be Striders, man. I don't think people are believing us. You use the Lutris.
Yeah, but no, seriously. When it comes to ease of use, Lutris is where you want to be looking at.
Ease of use, yes, but also nightmare of a human user interface. Also, 10 out of 10.
It's Python, and between Lutris and Play on Linux, it's either Python or Jython. So,
that's definitely a thing. So let's see. Yeah, I think we have one.
Yeah,
actually,
we do.
We had a couple more about this because I did the getting DaVinci running on the 1604 LTS. DaVinci, the multimedia audio, way too expensive, but they have a limited home version. I mean, it's kind of powerful. I mean, if you got the Blackmagic hardware that supports it, which a lot of people didn't read the fine print, and they're just like, I can't get any audio. And I was like, oh, when do you think a piece of Blackmagic software made for Blackmagic by Blackmagic might need that? No. I was like, well, maybe it does. Anyway, they were just watching the video, and this one lad, he writes in, he's like, what is the name of this Amazeballs graphic, this one right here? I mean, come on, really? Pretty
sure that's called Adwaita, or the default theme in every single distro ever.
Right. It's a good video to it's a great Millman's theme. What can I do to download this? Thank you for install XFCE4 and hit the high contrast button on themes, and boom. That's the icon set. But remember, kids, if you're going to change your desktop manager, you need to completely format your system and reinstall a different spin or distribution in order to make that work correctly. Also, to get back, because I just want to point out this, somebody I think asked last night or this morning, how do I install DaVinci on Mint 17 whatever, to which I'll reply, install 1604 like the video says in the beginning.
I mean, it's Mint. Really? You're running Ubuntu. It just
I've just never understood the mentality of like, here's how you do install this with this particular version using this, and I show up and I'm like, hey, I'm using something completely different. Does it work?
I don't know. Even that those benchmarks I did for Martin for Ubuntu Mate, testing all the different window managers and the compositors, someone came down on the comment saying, could you also test Linux Mint 18 to see how it would compare? Why?
Yeah, you know what? I could show up to church Sunday morning too. But let's talk about things that are actually going to happen. And unfortunately, one of those is that we ran out of time for this Wednesday. We'll be back. Check us out. Easiest way to get notified is just subscribe to our YouTube channel thingy. You do that and you click the ringy bell, and that way it'll just light up your house and be like, hey, these guys are going live, and you will know about it. We have a schedule button at linuxgamecast.com. That's always the thing. Come join an IRC if you want. We do have a Discord. That's up top. That's our Campagan room for our $1 and above Patreons. And it's kind of awesome. That's where we're at the other 6 days of the week. That's where the madness does take place, kind of like in our own closed off place that doesn't go out to the general public. It's a bit awesome. Want to screw with me? I'm at Ben Stone on the Twitter nets, plus Ben Stone on the G+, and I do my best to try to at least get back to you on either of those.
Yeah, you can find me. Usually I'll get back to you right then and there on G+, assuming I get the notification, which I often do. That's plus Pedro Mateos, or if you poke me on Twitter, I might not see it because I have those emails disabled, so I'll check it like once a day, every now and again, unless we're doing the show, at which point I share everything and I have a little look at the notifications. That's at Unaccounted For if you want to find me there. So I guess that pretty much wraps us up, don't you think, Strider?
Yeah, makes it very good. Go to the Lutris.net, yeah. See, I'm not going to go. If this was
German.
Listen, man, if this was a Saturday show, I would have ended what I was about to say, got to about right here on my tongue. And I said, nope, don't. This is our nicer show. But that's going to do it. We will see you next week. Beautiful, beautiful party people.
Bye.
Oh, want to say so bad.
Nope. Come on.
Let's just, it was going to start with hail, so.
I mean, yeah, France did give up on that, right?